Welcome to the Fantasy Pavilion, your home for fantasy sports.
Yeah, guys, welcome back to the Fantasy Pavilion, your home for fantasy sport. And of course, we are here to discuss the French GP coming this Sunday. And I'm joined by a good mate, good friend of the show, Rob from the F1 Fantasy Hub. And of course, our one of the panel members, Carissa. Rob, how are you doing?
Jared, I'm very well, mate. Always a pleasure to join you for one of these pre-race streams. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I can't complain. Just busy with FPL stuff, as you know, but we won't talk about that. But very busy. Very, and of course, there's also T20 cricket coming up as well for us, Caribbean CPL. So we're covering that as well now. So we're just
Right,
busy, Rob. Real busy.
busy season.
Chris,
The
busy
content
season. Busy. Between now and September, it's just peace. Real peace. And Carissa, you're here. Thanks for coming through. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. I hope everybody is good today and every day.
How have you been enjoying the season so far, Carissa? We last week was cool. The energy was pretty good.
It's been really good. I'm glad to see that Mercedes is getting a little more competitive and making it a little more interesting between Ferrari and Red Bull. But last week was particularly interesting, I think, with the whole track limit situation, because I think it was the first time for the season that I saw so many track violation warnings happening, and I think it's something now that the drivers are concerned about.
Yeah, there was a lot of I think what Gasly got one. Yeah, it was just sharing out like hot cakes. Are you? What I want to say was so right now this season there's no we can't conclude or we can't come to a final. We can't even say who's gonna win it yet. Or you'll think like that's it. Red Bull gonna run away with it. What do you think, Rob?
I don't know. It's a tight one. I think for me, Ferrari is obviously still a bit behind in the constructor, but they've closed the gap recently. I think the back-to-back wins at Silverstone and at Austria really goes to show that they're neck and neck again with Red Bull. I definitely think Max, he's a driver of good pedigree. We know what he's capable of. I find it hard to see him relinquishing the lead in the championship, but Charles is an excellent driver, and if anyone's going to catch Max this season, it's going to be him.
Yeah. Before we get into the action, though, I saw a lot of upgrades coming for this. Not let me say a lot, but I saw some upgrades. So I think Latifi got the same upgrades now that Albon got. I see that Mercedes as well. Nothing too, not too big, but it did some stuff as well, so it should be okay. I know they're trying to tackle the porpoising. Williams did not get their package in time. So I think they might be ready to upgrade by maybe the Hungarian GP, most likely. So there's some. I don't want to start the Latifi, but propaganda again. But I just say it. He didn't have the upgrades and did well, so you never know.
Yeah, he was unlucky to DNF last race because from a fantasy perspective, he's good for anywhere between 6 to 12, 15 points a race, depending on how many other people wipe out ahead of him. I don't think he's going to set the world on fire, but if you're turbo driving him in your team 2 or your team 3 and he finishes, 15th, 14th, you can't be angry about that. Like that's a great outcome for someone like Latifi. I'm not saying everyone's going to TD him in team 2 or 3, unlike you, Jared, but I definitely think he's going to surprise a couple of people. And that Q3 from the other week, don't be surprised if he comes away with another couple of those before the end of the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think he might clinch one. I think he might clinch another Q3 in this for this GP coming here. Carissa, Rob was saying, like the world of finance surprises. Ocon, right? Those recent updates. Ocon have been doing really recent. Ocon has been doing great based on since the recent upgrades.
Yeah, he has been. And to go back to the point about Latifi, I think more so now he's motivated to perform because of all these rumors that he's not gonna have his seat next season. So more so now than ever, I think he has to put in at least the best finishes that he can, especially with a teammate like Albon. But yeah, Ocon has been doing very well, surprisingly. Well, not surprisingly, because the Alpine itself is a very, very, very good car, and we've seen what Alonso has been able to do with it. Granted, I think Alonso's had some very unlucky situations. Alonso for me is like he's either like 5th or he's like 17th. Like for me, sometimes he's just no in between kind of guy. But I think Ocon is very consistent. So whereas Alonso might give you fireworks or disaster, Ocon give you a nice smile at the end of every race, guaranteed kind of vibes. So yeah.
I was having a discussion with some friends of mine on a podcast, the Lockup podcast, recently about Ocon, and you make a great point, Carissa. He's the kind of driver that, like you say, isn't going to set the world on fire, but he'll always finish between 7th and 12th in almost every race.
Mhm.
And for a team like Alpine, that's trying to be the best of the rest, that's as much as you can ask for from your driver. In the event, you've got a DNF from Ferrari and Red Bull in the same race, he's creeping onto 5th place, and those are valuable points for a constructor like Alpine. So he's doing all the right things, and when Alonso fires last week, he had 34 points. So it's a great combination, those two, I think.
Yeah, they are. And I definitely think Alpine has kind of cemented themselves as best of the rest. Well, in terms of like finishing 4th, I do believe they will finish 4th at the end of the season, because McLaren honestly have no chance of, in my opinion, of coming back strongly this season. Between Daniel's performances and the lack of car performance, because we know Lando's a great driver, regardless of whatever car that he's normally put in. But even at this stage, I still find that he's not getting the kind of results that we have seen and that we know he's capable of. He hasn't gotten a podium yet for the season. So I would put that down to car performance more than Orlando. And we've seen with Daniel, who has struggled previous season with McLaren, and then now due to the car being worse, he's not having any good chance. I mean, as of late, he's been kind of closer to Lando sometimes, but he tends to fade away very quickly. So I would say Alpine is definitely finishing 4th.
I mean, it's a closer contest than a lot of us assume, because the results, as you say, Alpine are obviously the team in form, but they're on equal points on the constructors. They're on 81 each.
McLaren, yeah.
We've still got half a season to go. I think, with Alonso and Ocon, they're outperforming Norris and Ricciardo clearly, but those DNFs just seem to be hurting them, and Norris is doing enough for McLaren to keep the orange in the fight. So
yeah, that's a fair point.
I mean, I agree. I can't see Alpine not finishing 4th unless Ricciardo sorts his act out. But it's, it seems to be, the gulf seems to be a lot further apart than the constructor standings indicate to me.
Yeah, for real. Right? And of course, we are joined by the Mercedes fanatic, Michael. How you doing, Mike? No audio yet. We're not hearing us yet. Unmute yourself.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good, man.
Yeah, so
all right.
Taking side.
You're crackling a little bit, but we'll push through. We're just talking about the constructor standings. Interestingly enough, Carissa, I think Alpine can really take McLaren because it's 81 points each. And then if you're going up the standings, 3rd is Mercedes, 237, Ferrari 303, and Red Bull on top of 359. So Alpine could easily and comfortably overtake McLaren and finish really high in the standings. Yeah. And Ocon and all could probably push with the driver standing as well. Not to reach too far, but he did get fifth place last week, so I think he could probably push and get something. If he really keeps this consistently for the end of the season, he could probably finish really high as well too.
Yeah, we better know.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Yeah. A point on the on constructors. I fully agree that Alpine is a better constructor than McLaren right now. So with fantasy, I've actually been putting Alpine as one of my cars so that I can fit in more expensive drivers. I think that's a safe bet right now because so long as nothing happens, in the sense that they're bad lucky at times, whether somebody crashing into them or reliability issues, I think once they have a good race, they will finish in the points. So it's a solid bet to have Alpine as one of your constructors. Sometimes maybe more. It's a safer bet than McLaren because they're very inconsistent this season. In one weekend, they might be up there. Next weekend, they're the back of the pack. So I definitely agree that Alpine is one of the better. Is so far the best in the rest, so to speak.
Right, of the rest. Correct. All right. And let's do a favorite thing. Let's break down. Now, of course, guys, as you know, so we French GP, and you all know race weekend always starts on a Friday. So of course, the 22nd, we have P1, and then we have P2. So P1 at 8 a.m. our time, right? This is the EST here. P2, 11 EST. On the 23rd, the Saturday, we have P3 at 7 a.m. and qualifying at 10 a.m. And then, of course, the race is at a blistering early 9 a.m. And Michael and myself will be at Island Bear bright and early doing the live stream. Of course, you're all free to jump on that stream and join us. So French GP, we could break down the track there, Michael. But before you do that, first, of course, so the first ever race on this track was back in 1971. It is 53 laps, so it should be a fairly barring no weather or no bad, nothing bad in the first 5 seconds of the race happening or anything like that. Should be a quick race, right? Should be. The current length is 5.842 kilometers. The fastest lap record is held by Sebastian Vettel way back in 2019, but I think the most recent one would have been Max for the last race. I think Max has the fastest lap in the last race. I think since that last lap when the penultimate lap when he overtake Lewis to win the race, yeah, I think that was his fastest lap. Michael, you want to take it away and break down the track first? I see we have a lot of corners, and we know a few guys that are not too good at maneuvering corners, so we could see a few incidents on this track. This is a very weird looking track.
Yes, it's a very interesting track. It is a quote-unquote traditional racetrack. So it goes clockwise. Something to note is that there are no sand traps around Paul Ricard, so Carlos Sainz should have no issues this weekend. But something to note, the unique thing, people will watch Paul Ricard and be like, what the hell is all these red, white, and blue
Yes,
strips?
thank you very much, Michael. I was going to bring it up.
That patriotic
I was going to
across
bring
in
it up.
France.
Go ahead.
And it's actually not just them being overly patriotic. It is specifically designed to slow the cars down. So the blue lets you go over it fairly quickly. The white slows you down. No, sorry. The white you can roll over. The blue slows you down a bit, and then the red that really stops you. But the thing about it is not slow you down and you're good to go. More than likely, if you do go over this sideways or backwards or anything, you're gonna mash up your tires. So going off, as much as it's not a sand trap to get stuck in, if it is you go off at speed, you're going to wreck your tires. You're going to have to get into the pits and change your tires because they're gonna be shredded. So it's definitely not something you want to be doing regardless. So that's something to note. So let's start at the start of the lap. It is a decent straight, not the longest thing on the track. Actually, the straight between turn 7 and turn 8 is a little bit longer than the start finish straight. But we go into turn 1, it's a 90-degree left-hander, and then it's a quick right. So that'll be a nice corner. They usually go in maybe 2, maybe 3 into that corner. So that could be interesting on lap 1. If it is somebody in 2 gets a really nice drive. And then running down from turn 2 to turn 3. It's a very slight left, so it's going to be flat out. Into turn 3, we have fairly heavy braking, not too intense. Then left into 4, right into 5, right into 6. 6 to 7 is probably going to be pretty near flat out. They're going to be flat out. 7 to 8, you probably might get DRS. A lot of that straight there between 7 and 8. Heavy braking into 8. So 8 is going to be a nice little overtaking opportunity if somebody could get the inside line and then push through, get far ahead enough so that they have the ownership of the corner into 9. Then 9 into 10, that right hander is probably going to be flat out. In these cars, 11 is a nice corner. It's unlikely you might see anybody hanging around on the outside to overtake somebody, but you never know. Somebody might be brave. But definitely following through tight between 11, 12, 13. Those are going to be fairly quick corners, especially 13 is going to be near flat out with these cars. 14 will be nice. 15 is definitely an overtaking opportunity because you're going to be hard on brakes, especially if you have the inside line power through onto the street, get some DRS, and that's essentially lap up all record.
All right, solid. I just had a very good question for you now. Yeah. So what will be? What's this? This is a one stopper, two stopper. What strategy you think
I
they'll
honestly think
implement it?
a lot of the teams are going to say, well, yeah, we're going for the one stop because that's what they've done in the past. But I think if anything this season has taught us is add an extra stop to every race. If it is you
Yeah.
accustomed doing a one stop, do 2 stops. It'll just work better. And we've seen that in nearly every track so far. The tires, they're good, but at certain points in the race, they just drop off. Max had a horrible race with that last time out in Austria, whereby his tires just started to fall off. So definitely, I would say start on the mediums, try and push it for as long as possible, then swap to hards if it is you're going for a one stopper. But I definitely think something like a medium, hard, soft is a nice combination to go. Especially if it is you have a late safety car and you could run in the pits, get those softs and come back out. I think that'll prove for a lot of good action. But I think most teams will go for a one stop, mediums to hards. And then a lot of teams too might go a bit more aggressive and go soft, try and build up that gap, and then going for hards and try and hope that the hards could last the entire thing, or prefer a late safety car or VSC or something of the sort. But
Carissa,
Go TV
just so
has
that
been on his game, so that
yeah,
may happen.
and Latifi's upgraded it, and you on some upgrades
He
too,
gets
so you
any
good to
upgrades
go.
this weekend.
Yeah, you got some
Yeah.
upgrades, so you good to go. Carissa, are you a fan of this track? Anything history tells us about this track? Anything at all, or you're cool with this track? You're
I
not a
think
fan?
I
What's
think
your vibes?
history. I think history is that this is usually one of the more boring of the tracks. There's nothing usually particularly exciting about the French Grand Prix, at least that comes to my memory wise. But of course, everything has to be taken in context. So, all the drama this season with Ferrari and Red Bull is Mercedes coming black, blah 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 blah. And the fact that I guess it's been scorching in Europe lately. We could see how track temperature and how that affects the tires and everything might play into that this weekend. But off the top of my head, I can't say I know a memorable French Grand Prix. So yeah, if anybody knows one, that's
and
fine.
that's a fair point because the weather reports so far since before I came on a stream with you all, it is looking like it's forecasted to be hot. It may get some rain in practice, me, but it's highly doubtful. But it's going to be super hot on Sunday, and we see a lot of cars that not getting the reliability in the heat vis-a-vis Ferrari, and sometimes Red Bull. If this was a 71 something lap, or 70 something lap, I would have been very fearful for at least maybe Red Bull and Ferrari. But let's see if Ferrari fix this stuff. And Is there going to be a penalty for Sainz? Is that how it works? Is now that he has to fix the whole unit, or no?
So there's an allocation of power units. So each person is, I think this year they increased it from 3 to 4 power units. So everybody has 4 power units to use across the season. So you could use one for or maybe, so let's say you have 4 engines, you have 2 halves for the season. One team might decide, well, we're using 2 for the first half of the season, we're using another 2 for the next half of the season. Or you do something like what Mercedes did last year, whereby they put all the engines into play. Then when one got damaged, they took an extra engine, they sacrificed and took the penalty, and they call that the spicy engine because they could just tune it all the way up because they don't have to preserve it. So he may not get it. He will not get a penalty. I need water.
So he wouldn't start at the back. You don't think so? You think he should be?
I don't
okay?
think so. He should be okay. So if they swap out the power unit, he will still be within his cash. Which, as I said, I think this season is 4 power units they have in use, and once he doesn't go outside of that, he wouldn't get penalized. But
Oh,
if it
he
is
brought up
the
Mm.
if it is the engine is damaged and they can't think, then they're gonna have to take a power unit late in the season. So then definitely later on in the season, he may have to take a penalty. And based on that, I think that power unit is dead. So
No, you brought up a real good point before we get into the fantasy aspect. I forgot to say this to the viewers and those who knew. So, French GP Sunday, and then on the 29th to the 31st, we have the Hungarian GP, and then we have the summer break. So, no action until the 26th right, of August. That'll be the Belgium GP. So, these next 2 races here, for me, from a points standpoint and maybe a momentum standpoint, I think it will be really awesome if Ferrari could win these next 2. But let's Leclerc, if Leclerc could win the next 2 and really put some pressure on Red Bull going into that break, it will be very, very interesting to see how it plays off. Because I was hoping that I'm going to say hoping, sorry, not hoping, but I was wondering or I was curious if Max might have taken advantage of these 4. He had 4 races this month, and I really thought he would have taken advantage and really tried to push and win at least 3 out of the 4. He has not done that, so the momentum could swing really well in Leclerc's favor if he wins the next 2 going into that break. What do you
I
think?
think also, Jared, as we're getting to the half-year break and silly seasons around the corner, definitely look at a few of the mid-table teams and those drivers to put in some good showings with their necks on the line come contracts. I think you'll see in Latifi, he's gone, he's good as gone. But people who are a bit unsure, like Tsunoda, there's no guarantee he's back next year. The Aston Martin guys, we're not sure what's happening with them. So
I mean, we're pretty sure Stroll is gonna be there still.
yeah, we know
That's
about
just part of it.
True.
Yeah, I guess so. And then, I mean, that kind of leaves us with, I'm pretty sure Alfa Romeo are pretty safe as well, and Haas too. But you never know; they can bring surprises at the last minute. And if you're not, driving yourself into form, then you're going to do more harm than good for your chances of a seat next year.
That's very true. Because I think if it is a prime example is Mick Schumacher. He had a bad start to the season. I mean, well, fine. At the very, very start of the season, they looked competitive. Everybody was surprised by the Haas. He had some accidents, and then rumors started to fly. He may not come back next year. He's not ready for Formula One. This, that. And then he got our first points finish, and he basically went to the team and was like, watch, I am the captain now. I started in charge when it is from that Captain Phillips scene, when it is the guy took over the boat. He's like, I am the captain now, because the kind of performance Mick has been putting in is pretty impressive, fighting with Max Verstappen. I think I remember which race that was. That was before the last one.
Before Vienna, the one just before Vienna.
Yeah.
That was the one, all the action.
Yeah, was that Silverstone? No.
That was Silverstone.
Whichever race that was.
Yes. I think that was Silverstone. That was Silverstone stuff. Yeah, that was Silverstone. That was Silverstone
Right.
stuff.
And yeah, so clearly a fire has been lit under Mick, and I think for the rest of the season, he's going to be driving his ass off until it is he gets until it is he know my seat book for next year. He don't care who it is next to him, whether it's Seb, whether it's Max, whether it's Lewis. I fighting everybody for position to try and get some points. So, as Rob said, we're definitely going to have battles in the lower and the middle teams, trying to keep their spots for next year.
Definitely.
All right, Rob. Seeing as you brought that point up in terms of the look, let me just glue it first, and then we'll keep that point, right, Rob? Let me just glue it first. So last week was bad, right? Last week, last race was lit. A Mega Drive, certain people don't look at Team 2, right? We're not talking about Team 2, but Mega Drive was two other people, and it paid off well, right? I remember when a Mega Drive, when as the race started, Rob, right? We know what went on, no problem. Now, of course, I Mega Drive Perez, right? Thinking, right, Perez is the man to go fit, and I remember coughing a chair, pounding a table real hard, and the waitress had the people watching me because of course she don't understand. And then when I broke it down to her after, I was like, well, I explained the whole thing. She's like, oh no, and she's patting my back and stuff. Then I was like, but don't worry, I have these other two guys. She's like, oh, so it balance out. I said, yeah, if you want to say that. So I mean, I 117 from Hamilton and a 105 from Russell Mega Drive. I taken as I told you guys, I took long to use my Mega Drive chip because I was waiting on the sprint, because sprint is double points. And not too bad, Rob. I'm not upset. I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been worse. Right? I could have made it.
Great outcome nonetheless, given you're the differential turbo driver / captain king. So, I mean, Schumacher raced his heart out, and Lewis, he's just on fire at the moment. Is that 3 podiums in a row? I think he's got. So
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
It's he's doing everything he can to put himself back in the conversation. He probably is a bit off the pace for contending for the championship this year, but staying relevant. So, it's good to see him bear fruit from a few difficult races to start the year off.
Yeah, agreed. And as a Lewis fan, I think he has a record going that he's always won at least one race of every season he's taken part. And I think with the current performances and after the next big update, that he could at least keep up that streak or record that he has of always winning a race. So I honestly believe he's on track to, as you said, stay relevant, quote unquote.
But I guess I'm going to have to
Robbie,
split momentarily, but I might just leave you with some parting thoughts.
Sure. Before you split, you brought up a really good point there. So you think just before this summer break, we should be just pushing for the mid-tier guys, trying to get more mid-tier guys in our teams?
Oh, I mean, I think it's important to stick with the proven performers like Charles, Sainz, Perez. They've all dominated for their price bracket this season. Sainz, I guess, is see how he goes in practice and whether I take the penalty or not. But other than that, I'm looking at your Alonso's and Ocon's, even Vettel potentially. He's had a couple of good races recently. And then Haas, if you're looking for budget enablers, I think I'm still going Schumacher and Magnussen over Latifi at the moment. So I think Mick's only going to be better as the season goes on, and he's shown recently he's definitely outperforming his counterpart there. So yeah, a lot at stake heading into the summer break.
And Rob, a crazy thing about Haas, this is the exact same car they brought out in the first race. They have had no upgrades, whereas everybody else has brought upgrades. So imagine if they're fighting for points in the top 10 with the exact same car. Granted, it's because they don't have the money, but once they bring an update and it actually works for the car, these guys are going to be performing even better. So next thing you know, you see a Haas on the podium.
Yeah.
I would love that. Yeah. Rob, any closing comments before you have to leave us? Close us off before we continue.
I think Leclerc is the obvious turbo driver for this weekend, and given that Sainz may take the power unit penalty, I think Red Bull is the clear favourite for constructor this weekend. But Alpine has also demonstrated recently that they're putting in 20-point performances, and if that's who you want to roll with as your differential pick, then that's not a bad shout. I think Red Bull is still the best pick, but Alpine means you have a route to Max, Perez, and Charles in the team at once. So take what you will, but I'm going Red Bull this weekend.
All right. All right. Well,
Well,
all right.
guys.
We'll take that one. Right.
Always.
And of course, I will chat with you before the race, and I'll show you my teams
Absolutely.
before. All right. Have a
Michael
good one. Thanks for
Pearson,
coming through,
Garrett.
man.
See you guys later.
Hi, Rob.
Later up.
Carissa, I'm glad you John. Now go down and jump on your Carissa. Carissa, what you got? I know you know too much in the fantasy. I know you just playing with us, but what your gut
I
telling you? Who looking good for this weekend for you?
Oh no, I would definitely say Max, just because Ferrari is a very frustrating team on the whole. Because Benito
Inconsistent.
likes this, he likes this narrative of we're out for performance. It is not our goal to win the championship. Like, yeah, sure. And I think Red Bull from the very start, although they have two good drivers, they've always made their intentions known, whether blatantly, subliminally. We know Max is their number one driver, and Max will always be priority. As much as
Mhm.
Perez is close to him in the championship, they will internally sabotage him. I don't care if people don't think it's true. I do think it's true. And with Ferrari, although to themselves they know that Charles right now is the better, more consistent driver, they cannot take that firm stance and say, okay, we want to win both championships. So Sainz, you didn't, perform. You didn't meet expectations immediately, but this is the situation we after the season, and then next season, y'all could duke it out. We just want to get this one out of the way, get back in it, whatever. But because their two drivers are fighting against each other and they are allowing that, like between that and just the poor strategy every week, like I can't ever put my trust in them. Like I want to, but I just can't. So as much as I hate to say it because I don't like him as a human being, Max Verstappen would be my choice of driver for the weekend. And of course Charles will come in after. I hope that Ferrari gets their plans together.
Act together.
And
Mhm.
they could positively finish first this weekend. And anytime Lewis is on the podium, I'm happy. But I feel like after summer break, Mercedes will be at their best. I'm glad we're seeing signs of improvement, but I feel like they will be winning races after summer break. So yeah.
So we're seeing signs of improvement, but no improvement in signs. But moving on. Right? Moving on. So let me do this real quickly.
Love
and then we'll
that.
talk
Look
F1.
at you. Big time lyricist.
Let me do this
Signs
real
of
quickly and then
improvement, but no
and-
improvement in size. Oh my god, I love that. I want to tweet that. I'm gonna tweet that and quote you as the author.
So let's do this real quickly and then we'll jump back into the fantasy aspect, right? So Michael, hit us off first now. Podium predictions.
Podium. Lewis third. Leclerc second. Max first.
All right. I think that's Carissa sentiment too, Carissa.
I want to say, I feel like I wish I had 4 spots because I really want to put Perez here. But I would agree. I would agree. I would say Lewis just because I feel like we have that Lewis Hamilton bias. So naturally, Lewis, we want him there. Charles and Max. Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
All right, solid. Well, I'm gonna say what I want as well. I want Leclerc to win it. It's just Ferrari reliability, but I'll give in Leclerc 1, Max 2, and I'll give in Perez 2. I think Perez need, because I feel sorry for him last race. It wasn't his fault at all. He has been doing really good recently, and I think you'll be. Yeah, but if a point to prove, and he'll be chasing on everybody. So
my thing with Perez is though, I think he's better at the long distance races. So I think that's
correct.
Yes, because this is a 53, 52. I could put bet on Perez any day when I see a 71. So
that's a good.
That's the only
I
thing.
think it's not so much that is you see when it is they put him on too aggressive or strategy. He's a man. You put him on hard at the start of the race, and he will drive to lap 30 something, lap 40 something on them tires, and then ducking for
Yep.
sauce, and pelt away. So I think and that's it. A team has to know their driver, and as much as yes, he could fight. He's a defender. He's not so much a fighter. I think, in my opinion. So put him on strategies that will either see him defend or that will see him run in the long game. Because and
But they
beat
won't
them on
do that
strategy,
because they
they
want
wouldn't.
Max to win. So they won't do that.
Exactly. Their priority is Max. And I think that is where a driver loses out when it is he's in a team and clearly has a bias against him. Um so yeah, I think that's why he is struggling. And the problem with Ferrari is that, remember, in past, Ferrari has come under fire. And I mean, I'm not sure. Chris, how long have you been watching F1?
Maybe 4 years now.
Okay, so there's this infamous line, I think it was 2012, 2010 or 2012, where Felipe Massa and Fernando Alonso were both at Ferrari. And there's a famous line whereby Fernando was faster than Felipe, and they had banned team orders, so they could no longer say allow so and so to pass into the so and so corner. So they had the radio team message, and it's actually quite infamous. Alonso, Fernando is faster than you, and that's their code for let him pass. And Ferrari came out under a lot of fire for that because they were using team orders when it is they weren't supposed to. And Ferrari has infamously been known to be using team orders even back in the Michael Schumacher days. It was very early in the season, but yet Ferrari told Rubens Barrichello to allow Michael to take the win, although Ruben had been leading like the entire race. Um, and so Ferrari has a very spotty history with team orders. So they're very much should we on eggshells as to when to use team orders, but in situations like these where you have a clear driver who is actually fighting for the championship, use it. And I feel like
I
people
think
wouldn't.
I think to add to that, Michael, it's difficult for them too because Sainz will fight back. He literally tells them no.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
no, this
Don't
is
Agreed.
tell me
me.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not doing
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah.
I
Don't
get
tell me
it's
that.
probably something
Correct.
that they didn't have with Vettel because it would just been
No,
like whatever.
but that's the thing. Ferrari was always the big bad wolf in the sense that you
Mm-hmm.
fight us back and we will fight you back more. Like the level of strictness that Ferrari holds their drivers to is very, very strict, like contract wise. So the fact that they're allowing Sainz to quote unquote get away with such behavior is very un-Ferrari like for persons that know Ferrari from their younger days or earlier days, because they were like, this is the way Ferrari does it, this is the only way it will be done.
Hmm.
So I think it's maybe them trying to figure back out their identity or trying not to seem as the overlord or oppressors, because when Enzo was alive and he was in charge, he wanted everything done a particular thing. Remember, they are Italians, they're very sophisticated people. I can't do an Italian accent. Um, so they are very much, this is the way it has to be done. There's no other way to do it. Pasta has to be made without thing. You must eat your pizza with a thin crust, etc.
No
Um,
ketchup.
exactly. So
But yeah,
therefore, when it is Ferrari things, I think they're trying to still figure out their identity as to who they are.
yeah, because the lack of success that they've had all these years, because it's really just been the Mercedes and Red Bull show. So now, and I guess like when in those they would have lost all that authority because it's like, okay, you're saying to do this, but it's clearly not working.
Exactly.
So now that they have a car and they have the drivers, is hard for them, as you say, to find back their identity. So yeah, that's a really good point.
Let me ask you something before we get into the fantasy part, right? Quickly. If Perez, let's say, so what we did 12. This is our 12th race. So let's say let's say from race 4, right? Just saying GP4, Grand Prix 4, Perez won 5 straight. You think how would they now have to, dictate that now. So will they still put team orders and say, well, all right, because now he'll be
Max,
on top. Because no, I do it on purpose, because it's Red Bull. I think Ferrari, if it was any other, I think if it was anybody else, I think they would have allowed whoever leading the pack to push and let the other person support them. But I did it on purpose with Red Bull because I know Max not
is their
having
golden
that.
boy. Exactly, yeah. I mean,
But
Like,
if
I feel like it's more Max father that not having that.
Yeah. But the thing is,
and
Perez not just but the thing is Perez not just defending. Perez has been doing some really good racing. He's not just protecting Max. He just ends up naturally first. And then you literally see where okay, he has to slow down and let Max go through. I don't understand. I don't know,
I
but
think
I'm not a fan of that.
I think it's just for them it's a brand perspective kind of guy, because when people think
Mm,
Mercedes they think Lewis and all he's done for all the years and whatever, and I feel like Red Bull wants that with Max because he's so young and he could literally stay with them
mm,
for his entire career. Perez is much older, and Perez they might feel like Perez is
Hmm.
just like he's doing the job that he needs to do right now, but they will cut him as soon as he's not doing that, but they
And
have an investment in Max.
that's a perfect point. At the end of the day, Max is a Red Bull driver. He started off at AlphaTauri and then went to Red Bull. Take Sebastian Vettel for example. He started at AlphaTauri, went to Red Bull, won them 4 consecutive titles, and then went Ferrari. And those are all of that's Ferrari. That is Red Bull's 5 constructors, and well, those are Red Bull's 5 drivers championships, and they have 4 constructors championships. And that's it. It's literally guys who start off Red Bull because as much as it's AlphaTauri, well, back then it was Toro Rosso. That is Red Bull. It's basically just Red Bull in Italian. So why it is they always prioritize Max is not so much just based on his age and his talent, but of who he is and where he came from. He is a Red Bull driver. Whereas with Perez, he's been bounced around. He was Force India. He was um um Force India. He was Recent Point. He bounced around a couple of places. Yes, he has a lot of experience and stuff, but he's not a Red Bull driver. And I think that is why he will always be on the back burner in that team.
mm, fair enough.
So just and then just as Carissa said, he is older. He doesn't is not to say he has a whole lot of years again in F1. And yeah, he's still performing, but I don't see him being prioritized in any way or form, regardless of where he is on his standards, as much as it might make sense. I don't see it happening in a toxic team like Red Bull, because that's what
Mm,
they are, toxic.
yeah, fair enough. All right, so Michael, what's the strategies for this weekend, boy? What your gut telling you? So Carissa saying Max, I have no Max in my team. So next, well, I have
And
Max in team one. Only
I
have him
will
in
not
team
have
one.
any Max in my team.
I know that. I know you ain't going through that one, but I have Max in my team one
Maybe in the
and
second
has
half of the season when I'm desperate to beat Antonio, but at this point in time, no Max in my teams. Um,
no.
Definitely team one. I'm gonna stick with Alpine as the constructor, so I can pull
Okay.
in big boy drivers. So definitely
Okay.
Lewis will be in my team one. I would agree with Schumacher in team one, Perez as well. I would fit in Leclerc there, and based on how much money I still have, put in one of the Alpine drivers, so maybe Alonso or Ocon. Or if I have the Mula, um, maybe somebody higher up. So I would say I think maybe I would Russell. I'm not sure with the money now. I don't think I would be able to. But definitely Schumacher, Lewis, Perez, um, somebody else I said
He
Perez,
was looking at
Lewis,
Leclerc.
Schumacher,
Yeah. Schumacher.
Ocon, and Leclerc. Those would be my 5 drivers with Alpine as the constructor. My battling team, which is team 3. I'm probably gonna go Ferrari constructor or Mercedes constructor with Leclerc, Russell, uh, Schumacher, and one of the Alpines,
So
and
you're dropping K-Mag.
possibly. I think right now, I think Schumacher is the better bet than K-Mag,
Right.
and
No,
at this
yeah,
point,
yeah,
Bottas has
correct.
fallen off a little bit. I think he
Yes,
finished in 8
yes,
points last race, but he's definitely not where
yeah.
he was at
But
the
has
start of
not
the
been,
season.
yeah, correct. He was really solid at the
Bottas
start,
has
correct,
not been on that ass. So,
correct. Facts.
definitely, I think I might favor Alpine driver over Bottas if I'm looking for a differential.
No
And
problem.
I have no problem putting in the two harsh drivers because with the way they're performing, more than likely you'll get some good points.
Bro,
So
come
if
on. Yeah, I'm
if
with you,
if money
1000%.
if it comes down to a money decision, I would comfortably put the two harsh drivers.
Well, I like that. And well, you know me, you don't have to convince me because I have been singing Haas name pretty long as well. So you don't have to convince me about
No,
that.
and
Okay.
what blows my mind with Haas, they have had zero updates to date, and they are
Bro,
finishing in the
bro,
points. I
bro,
cannot
bro,
understand that. That is
bro,
so
bro.
unheard of in Formula
And
One,
they get
especially
in
when
the
everybody
good.
else has had updates.
Agreed. And I think they get in the upgrades for in time for Hungary because it didn't come in time for this
Correct.
race. I
Yeah.
think I was reading up on it and
I
apparently
honestly
it didn't
feel
get there.
I honestly feel like Gunter will be like, is either they bring it in Hungary just to see how it performs, so they have somewhat to tweak it to figure out, okay, what do we need to improve it, or they might just say, you know what, let me just run out the whole of the first half of the season without it, and
Yeah.
we go
And
jump out
jam them in Belgium.
and
Yeah.
then jam them from Belgium. But I honestly think the better strategy is to run it in Hungary just to see how it performs,
A
to see
test.
if it is the to see if it is they get the kind of gains that they expected to gain in the development, so that at least over the summer break they can't make any changes, but they can at least go home and think about and see, well, okay, cool, maybe we could try this, maybe we could do this to
Yeah.
make it
Yeah.
perform
Yeah.
better. So I think that's the better strategy as it relates to their upgrades. But
I
it's
agree with you
amazing to see
1000%.
what they're doing with that one package from the start of the season.
I think I saw forgive me, I still learning. I think I saw that Latifi and Albon, their
Mhm.
constructor, I think then they said that they're not going to do any more upgrades
For the
for
season.
the rest of the season. Yeah, I think they said that's it, and they're not going to do any more for the season.
They're
Whether
gonna
how it
try a
fall, it
Haas.
fall. Yeah, how
They're
it
gonna
fall, it
try a Haas
fall.
because remember
Yeah,
Haas did nothing for the 2021 season, and look at Haas now. They put all of their money and resources into 2022, and it's paying off. So maybe they taking a page from their book and they being like, you know what? Let me just suffer through 2022 and let me see what happens 2023. But at the same time, Williams has been struggling through these years, so I still don't know what kind of struggle they want to struggle again.
I think it's time that they try to be a proper mid table team.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think honestly, who might fall into their position if they don't do something drastically is Aston Martin.
Yes. Woo! That's a good point. Even McLaren, but I don't want to go that far yet because
Ooh,
McLaren
nah,
looking
I don't think they're that bad. They're not that bad, but they certainly headed there.
yeah. Yeah.
They might end up
Antonio,
they might end up
Antonio,
higher
hearing
along.
us?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro. What's your strategy for this weekend,
Hey.
bro? What's your strategy for this weekend? Yeah, because right now you in the lead, you know. We had to buy you a friggin' Bottas jersey. Where goes by
Boy,
Michael
like,
11
close
dog.
right now. It's very close right now. That last game right there, my two drivers, like 2 or 3 drivers DNF, so it was down
Woo.
bad. This is a tough one. I hope Perez doesn't have any problems again. But I'm favoriting Perez for this race. And strange enough, I'm favoriting Sainz. So between Perez and Sainz.
Okay.
I like what I'm seeing with the Mercedes as well, but for the fantasy wise, I kind of tough to budget one of those guys in right now.
Right.
Probably George, but I know I had to take off one of my good drivers right now, so I don't know. And Sainz doing his thing, Leclerc doing his thing again. So it's really tough to just drop. I might get rid of Bottas, as of he's been out of form in the past 2 weeks. So, yeah, really not sure. Magnussen, I might go to what's his name, Schumacher. Yes, yeah, he has been the better of the two of late as well. But for replacing Bottas, I'm not sure. But that one kind of has me baffled. Is who are going to replace him with? There's not much funds are going to get either way. So
Yeah, that's it. You're not gonna get much. Yeah, it might as well hold. That's it. If it was a underperforming Perez or underperforming Russell or something, you get some money there. You could have split him into people. But yeah.
they kind of stuff. But based on what's going on in the practice, was on in the practice tomorrow on Saturday morning. I will decide what I'm doing. But I'll be working Saturday morning, so I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna have to do that changes.
I'll still be
Swift.
nice and remind people to make changes, but you see, second half of the season, I don't remind nobody.
Yeah.
No mercy. You forget hard locks. Better pray that team do good.
That's why I like to set my team from now. As we say in FPL, a bus team, Antonio. I like to set my bus team from now. So in case I don't get to do anything, at least I have something set that I feel comfortable with.
You can't do that. You can't do that with this league, boy. There's only one team you have battling it out. Because what's the points difference between Antonio and I in our league?
Like 30 or 30 something.
Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that close.
I was gonna say you're right there. But let's see, you're right there. But don't pick Hamilton. I might go blight him now. He going good. I feel him blight him. I
go blight him.
Since I put him on my team, he hasn't finished in 3 straight. You understand?
I had him in my team last time around.
Right, you're a fraud. You only bring him in. That's your favorite driver, and only bring him in last week.
I've always had him in team 1. It's team 3 that I'm battling with that I don't have him in because I just can't afford to bring him in.
Yeah, I know that. He's a pricey one.
Yeah.
And he wasn't doing.
Lewis, he had to switch on the whole blasted team.
Bro. You had to bring in a B14 as a constructor. Very impressive.
But luckily that B14 is Alpine and they actually doing things.
Yeah, I met him. You know what? So at my team, when I'm team 2, I am pretty comfortable with. The only elephant there is Gasly. I find Gasly has been a little sus recently, but I will leave it alone.
Disappointing.
Yeah, I will leave it alone. I'm not
That's
touching
not
Ocon for sure.
boy.
Sorry?
Gasly's not Cursor boy.
Yeah.
I remember the start of the season, she was very much up talking.
Yeah, she hyped me up. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go after Gasly, and he did do well. Can't say no, he did do okay.
He showed some promise, but I don't know, something happened. He and Tsunoda got in an argument, and after that he tooted and he not driving properly.
I don't know what it is, but I think they are all enjoying some minor upgrades as well too. So we'll see how that comes through. Team 3 have I don't know, but I have Aston Martin as the constructor.
First and first, get Aston Martin.
Yeah, I know.
They have Alpine twice, then you have Aston Martin.
Haas or something. Yeah, Haas or something.
Or Haas, something. But actually, that's not too bad a strategy if you put Haas, because then you could afford any and every driver you want.
Correct. Especially on this team, because this team not that, because it's Leclerc, Sainz, Perez. That's not too bad, Russell.
Right. So you don't have what's up, boys. If you drop Haas, you could swap Vettel for somebody like an Alonso and an Ocon. And I would say drop Sainz and put in somebody a little higher up, whether it is you put a Ocon and a Schumacher or something like that. Yeah, you could do a lot more with this team, I find. So
this team could a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah, take out Aston Martin, put a Haas, and then play up with them drivers as much as you want.
11.5, Haas is 6.3. You can't go wrong with that. And
you're getting plenty gains with that money there.
The thing is, I won't necessarily. If I get rid of Sainz, it had to be somebody real lit, and I don't want to go lower than his price point, if you understand. I feel like a gamble and keep him. I rather swap Vettel to one of the other mid-tier guys and keep it so. I want to keep the 4 top guys. I feel as a decent Strat
Yeah.
for now. Keep the top guys and just swap out Vettel for a shoe or maybe somebody who coming in hard right now that could give us something
Yeah, I say
solid.
I say go with your boy Ocon. Until you like Ocon, go with
Yeah,
Ocon.
I've Ocon on my
Swap,
team too. Ocon has been really good for me on team too. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So you could swap Vettel for Alonso even.
Well, Vettel have some nice pedigree here too. I'm hoping that that could play out, but he has not been able to do well with this in
And it's
this
not
series of
just so much
football.
the driver, but again, it's the car. The
Ah,
Aston Martin
exactly,
is a
exactly, exactly.
piece of crap. In
Yeah,
all
yeah,
honesty, and
yeah.
that's the thing. You could tell how much money you want at a team, but unless you have the people working to make that car the best, or you have people happy to work where they're working, you're not gonna perform.
I can afford anybody from Norris come down the road. Alright.
Yep.
I just tell him, boy, be patient with Vettel. Boy. I don't know, boy. Give him one. Because I keep saying that to her. Be patient with these guys. Be patient with these guys. You never know
Yeah, but you
what
don't
can
give him
happen.
half of the season already. Has
I
he
didn't know.
done
I
anything
brought
higher
him
than
in
this?
recently. No, I brought him in recently. I didn't have him
No,
ready
but
to
if
go.
it is you look at his that's fine. But look at his performance throughout the season so
Yeah, I
far.
get you. I get you. I get you. Yeah, nothing
I am
to.
a Vettel fan. I love Vettel, but Vettel in a Aston Martin is not doing it for me.
But we've had some late bloomers, Mick.
Mm-hmm.
Even Latifi, we had some late bloomers. You know, people
Yeah,
coming
I
up,
mean,
surprising us,
so,
doing things. So you never
but
know. He
that's
might
different.
last to.
That's younger boys getting accustomed. He's an older man
Yeah,
phasing out, so to speak.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It tempting just to hold on to him. I mean, just two more races till the summer break, and
The
then
main
we could
point, yeah.
assess and see.
I
Was
mean,
that?
I mean, after FP1, and you see how McLaren fared this
Yeah,
weekend,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe you could train one of the, well, I would never say train Ricardo, but you could train Norris to see how he performs and thing. But I honestly think McLaren is gonna suffer with the weather.
Yeah,
Their
that heat
brakes
gonna
could
cause
overheat.
real problems. Yeah,
Ferrari, I am worried about them overheating this weekend,
correct,
so I
correct.
do not want to put them as a constructor. So I might actually go Red Bull as a constructor, maybe. Um, because I've done it before. But yeah, I think this weekend, especially because of what's going on in Europe, you're gonna retest those cars and what it is they could handle temperature wise.
Yeah, and we will definitely see a gauge of it tomorrow. I think tomorrow will be a good test to see how the reliability in that heat will be for sure. Antonio, any constructor ideas at all? Anything you're thinking about? I know you're studying the drivers more. You're swapping out any constructors?
Hmm. Um.
Because you predominantly using who? Red Bull and who? Ferrari.
Red Bull and Ferrari. That's why they're changing most of the time. But Red Bull for this race, I might just stick with my Red Bull. But Ferrari boy is driving good, so I'm not sure. I mean, it was quite unfortunate what happened to Perez last race, but um, I might stick with him for this race, and depending on what happens, we'll see. But yeah, that's my two constructors. That's Ferrari. And if but in terms of running with the for the league, yeah. But in my other two teams, I'm willing to be Alpine. Feeling like Alpine has a little form of reach decent. To get them a shy and probably go for some bigger drivers. Because the cars were relatively cheap. Well,
Yeah.
the constructor that is.
Yeah, not bad. Not a bad show.
You probably put Hamilton in that team. Currently one. But I see one of your teams has Hamilton and Max.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's like having Son and Alan or Kane and Alan or this or some
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
like
Salah and Alan or yeah.
Not
I went fit and my Mega Drive worked too, so I went fit.
True. I mean, go check that in.
Actually, like I was using about using the Mega Drives on the sprint weekends, I actually never thought to use it then. Because that's actually a really good strategy to get the double point.
Well, you see, we are FPL professionals and connoisseurs now, so we know how to, And that's
That's
why I
what
don't take on men. Men like to laugh at me. Men was laughing at me, no, Michael. Oh, you like to keep thing, like the whole thing. Plan, strategy. You understand?
That's
When you
when
see
we
that, you balling up.
that's when we used ours in the earlies though. But I
Yeah,
use
you
mine.
You
did
use it on a sprint weekend too.
the first sprint.
Use
Yeah,
use
you did
yours
the
on
first
it as well too.
Yeah, I did use it, but it wasn't because of thinking about getting
Yeah, he
double
didn't. He
points.
just did it. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
I think he's just following you to chase you or something like that, probably to chase Antonio.
No, it,
Yeah,
it
was
wasn't
it?
a follow. I just had a feeling like that would have been a good weekend to use it, but honestly,
Yeah,
did not see it from the point of view of strategy of
Yeah.
okay, cool. This weekend, guys gonna have an opportunity to get even more points than usual.
yeah. My plan was to see if the drivers you all pick. That's why I was trying to pick some differences. Let's see the drivers you all pick. The DNF, they failed, and thing, and see if I could creep up. It never happened, but I said, all right, well, just wait and leave it for the next sprint and
No,
try
but
and get.
second half of the season, I'm leaving my mega drivers for the second half of the season for late,
Yeah,
and
well,
I
that's
will
it. You had to
leave
push.
them for,
Yeah, you had to
for
push.
sprint. Yeah,
And
really
and
see.
Turbo
I
Drive the
just we
best
can jump
drivers.
away, yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
What when is this second Mega Driver? Is there
It
It will
comes
hit
on the
us.
second half of the season.
Yeah, it will hit
For
as
the
soon
year.
as Belgium. So that's the 26th of August.
Yeah.
okay.
So the next sprint race, I can't remember when the next sprint race is. The next
Sprint
sprint
is
race
not-
is Monza.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say yes.
Yeah, the next sprint weekend is Monza, so that would be the best weekend to use it.
Yeah, everybody know. Well, yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. But
Thank you.
I'm just
Thank
joking. But yeah, I'm just joking. But yeah,
That is
I
the
don't know,
best-
but Antonio.
that is the best time.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, it's smart. It's smart because at least you get a lot of points out of it.
or
Even
you
if you
gamble, or you make
Because
a
it-
gamble on a team. Okay, so for instance, figuratively speaking, Ferrari or Red Bull drivers, one of them change the unit, you automatically start into the back of the pack. But you know
Right.
to yourself that they're gonna get overtaken points. So that's when you use it because you know for
Correct.
sure they're gonna come up in the top 5 most likely.
They're gonna get some double points and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
correct,
When you see
correct.
when Perez had dropped to 17 and came back second,
Mm,
that would have
bro.
been easy.
That
Them
would have
points
been
would
a
have-
Yeah.
litty, yeah. That would have been a mega drive weekend, yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I gambled with Bottas and keep Captain last because he changed his unit. So when he started that, he started kind of far back. So I was like,
Right.
hopefully he gets some overtaking points, but didn't really
Didn't work
pan
Yeah,
out.
way. Didn't work out, sadly.
Hey fellas, I looking to head out there,
Yeah,
but
we're gonna
big
we'll
up.
sign off there one
gotta
time.
pick up for Sunday.
Yeah, we'll
Sunday
sign,
we
so
outside.
just now, I have it here. I have it right friggin' here. So we outside on soon. Well, we have some plans coming up for some other watch alongs as well too. But we outside Sunday. This the 24th. Don't forget Friends GP at Island Bay, our gracious host. So that's our home now for F1 on a Sunday. And hopefully we see our new friends Anthony and Raquel come out. We have some new friends now that come out every Sunday with us and hang with us. So
Yeah.
shout out to everybody that comes through. And we're trying to build it. And we have some fun ideas. You won't say it yet, Michael, but we have some
Not
for
yet,
some
not yet.
for the better times. And we even have a fun one for the 1 a.m. That's just now. The Japan one is just now. Right? We can't wait
Mhm.
for that. We have some fun ideas for some watch along. So again, I want to thank everybody. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We are growing. We're trying to get to that 1K. I think we're at 4 something right now. Thanks
Yeah.
everyone for pushing us and sharing it to all your friends. Don't forget, tell everyone we do everything. If you like cricket, Formula One, football, whatever it is, once there's a fantasy, we there. Right? And again, I want to shout out Island Bay for graciously hosting a shout out to Dwayne and his staff. Thanks Antonio, Carissa, Rob, Mike for coming through. And well, happy picking, guys. Good luck with your turbo drivers. If you still have a mega driver left, I think you have till hungry. So if you were still holding on to it, try and
Now it's time to
strategize
use
and
it.
use it wisely. And don't forget, you could look at some of the mid-tier drivers and even the constructor. The constructors that was suggested by Michael. The Alpine is a good idea to cheapen up and get some. Because the mid-tier drivers, look at Ocon. Ocon now is given a really good push. I think he's trying to get a nice finish before the summer break. Here's some guys. Mick looking good. He might come and make a nice push or some good turbo driving options for you guys. Right. So once again, happy picking, guys. Take care, and we'll see you all in the next one, man. All right, and hopefully you'll see you all Sunday for